My name is Clara, 41 years old, a lecturer in business administration at a university in Denver. My husband Lucas and I have been together for 17 years. To outsiders, we were the perfect couple, a cozy home in the suburbs, 2 stable jobs, annual vacations. Like clockwork, but that glossy surface had been cracking for a long time. I just didn't want to see it that evening. Lucas was in the shower, the sound of water running echoed from the bathroom, a backdrop to something else, a small pang from his phone carelessly left on the nightstand. I'd never been the type to check. My husband's phone trust was something I always protected, but intuition, that vague instinct you only believe when the pain cuts deep enough, pulled me up from my seat. The screen lit up. The notification was chilling in its simplicity. Table for 2. Confirmed at Lumiere Friday at 7:30 p.m. Window seat as requested. She love it. I stood frozen. Lumiere was one of the most expensive restaurants in Denver. We had once dreamed of going there for our 10th anniversary, but canceled because he had a work trip. I had never set foot in the place. Yet now Lucas was planning a romantic evening there for someone else. I didn't plan to unlock the phone, but my hand moved before my mind could stop it. The passcode was still our wedding date. Just 4 digits, as simple as I once believed marriage to be. What I found was an entirely different world. Messages, photos, notes, even full conversations spanning almost a year with someone named Sophie, a young blonde woman who worked in the communications department at the law firm where Lucas was a partner. They chatted daily, no hourly, about the most intimate little things, from morning coffee to the dress she wore at night, and photos from a 2-day work trip to sauna. Sophie curled up in Lucas's arms, his smile so bright I barely recognized the man who once stood by me through the financial crisis in 2008. I still remember how it felt like the air had vanished from the room, replaced by a piercing metallic ringing in my ears. I wanted to throw the phone across the room to scream, but I stood there, knuckles white, heart pounding wildly. Have you seen my blue tie? Lucas called from the bathroom casually, like everything was fine. Like he hadn't just torched our marriage with a dinner reservation. I placed the phone back exactly where it was, bearing the eruption inside me. Second drawer. I replied, my voice flat and cold. That night, I lay beside him, back turned to Lucas, listening to his steady breathing while my body stayed taut like a drawn bow. How many times that I told myself his distance was just work stress? How often had I pretended not to notice him, avoiding my eyes, making excuses to come home late, carrying unfamiliar perfume and suspiciously crisp shirts? Now I knew every suspicion, every gut feeling had been right, and I was no longer the blind wife. The next morning, I still kissed him goodbye like always. Good luck with the Japanese clients this morning, I said, and Lucas nodded, completely unaware that I had already seen the candle lit dinner plans he made for Sophie on Friday night. Once the door closed behind him, I picked up my phone and called HR at the university. I requested a 3-day leave. I needed time not to cry, but to prepare. I had spent 17 years being the perfect wife, but now I was going to be someone else. I sat at the kitchen table, staring into a cup of coffee gone cold, feeling hollow. In less than 12 hours, the world I had trusted had been stripped bare, but instead of collapsing, something else began to take shape inside me, sharp, calm, and terrifyingly clear. I didn't want a screaming match. I didn't want to be the woman who smashes plates and yells in the kitchen only to be met with pity and another robotic "I'm sorry." No, if Lucas wanted a special night with Sophie, he'd have one, just not the way he imagined. I redoubled Lucas's email. His calendar was meticulous, as if he never expected anyone to find it. 7:30 p.m. Friday, reservation at Lumiere. Note clearly saying window seat, soft lighting, wine, pre-arranged, a perfect evening for 2 people with nothing to hide except their spouses. I searched Sophie's name through his firm's employee directory, Sophie Walker, internal communications. It took less than 5 minutes to find her social media, then just one more click. Ethan Walker, Sophie's husband, an executive architect at a major design firm in downtown Denver. He had a warm smile and kind eyes. I didn't know Ethan, but I knew what betrayal felt like, and I thought, maybe he should know too. Of course, I couldn't just call a stranger and say, your wife is sneaking around with my husband. I needed a different approach, subtle, believable, and effective. As a university lecturer, I had one special privilege: inviting guest speakers for our seminars, so I crafted the perfect email, formal, concise, and completely professional. Dear Mr. Ethan Walker, my name is Clara Whitmore, and I currently teach project management at Metro Denver University. We are hosting a speaker series on sustainable urban design and came across your recent work in the Rivergate Business District. If you're interested, I'd love to discuss the possibility of inviting you as a guest speaker. I've scheduled a dinner for this Friday at Lumiere, 7:30 p.m. And to talk through the details, it would be an honor to meet you there. Hit send less than. 2 hours later, Ethan replied, "Thank you, miss. Whitmore, I'm very interested in this opportunity. Friday at 7:30 at Lumiere works perfectly. I look forward to meeting you." I read that line over and over, heart pounding with a strange mix of nerves and sorrow. He didn't know yet, but he would not through anger, but through the clarity of truth. The hardest part was next booking the table. I called Lumiere directly. "Good evening." The hostess answered, "We have a few tables left for Friday. Do you have a preference?" "A table for two near the window if possible," I said calmly, "and if there's one available near the reservation under Hamilton and Rothman, ideally next to theirs. We're potential partners and would like to be nearby." A half-truth, and it worked. "Certainly, ma'am. I'll seat you near them. Any special requests for wine or the menu?" "Just a good view," I replied with a small smile, though she couldn't see it. Friday night, Ethan and I would be seated just steps from Lucas and Sophie, close enough to see every expression, every movement, close enough to shatter the illusion they'd built in the dark. I hung up the phone and sat still for a long moment. Everything was ready. No screaming, no accusations. Just a quiet, devastating reveal, perfectly timed. Lucas always thought I was soft. He was wrong, and Friday night would prove it. I arrived at Lumiere 20 minutes early in a teal silk dress Lucas once said was too loud for dinner, my hair in a soft bun, makeup subtle, and champagne heels I never worn outside the box until now. I didn't dress to impress anyone. I dressed for battle, and tonight's battlefield was a 5-star restaurant lit by candlelight, the soft strains of a violin, and glimmering crystal glasses. The waiter led me to the reserved table, a perfect spot. From here, I could see the window table, the one where Lucas and Sophie would sit. They hadn't arrived yet. I sat down and ordered a martini, my chest tightening. No matter how much I had prepared, the moment of confrontation still made it hard to breathe, not from fear, but from finally facing a truth I'd avoided for over a year. "Clara Whitmore," a deep, warm voice called behind me. I turned around. Ethan Walker stood there, tall, dressed in a dark shirt with a polite smile. He looked exactly like his photos online, though his eyes were a bit more tired, maybe from work, or maybe from what he didn't yet know was about to unfold. Asterisk, was Clara too cold or just powerfully honest? Drop a comment. Should more women take control like this when betrayed? Subscribe to hear more emotionally powerful revenge stories where justice comes without a single scream. Like if you believe choosing yourself is the most powerful revenge.